So it appears Arsenal fans over the years have been trained to manage the expectations, so much so that the fans can't even sometimes even dare to imagine that Arsenal can actually sign 2 strikers in this current transfer window. So there was first a link to Sesko, which most people believe is Arteta's favorite for a striker this season, and then the link to Gyökeres. And not even, at least, I can't even think of up to 10% of Arsenal fans that went thinking, oh, maybe Arsenal can actually sign both strikers. And if you come to think of it, don't we actually need both strikers? Because, I mean, it's going to be a long season, and if you're not going to drop levels, why don't we need the 2 strikers? Why are we always thinking, oh, it has to be one? I mean, look at last season. The squad was so lean that we had to play Saka, somebody like Bukayo Saka. We played him so much so that he even developed injuries, and even now he's almost starting to look like he's injury prone. If you do that kind of repeat consistent play without rotation on any position, the same reason why Martin Odegaard looks like he's burnt out. We've done that to Saka, we've done that to Odegaard right now, and even if we signed Gyökeres or Sesko and played him as frequently as we played these 2 players I just mentioned, definitely is going to be a burnout. What happened to even Kai Havertz last season? He looked very stoic and solid the season before because he was not really playing every week. Sometimes they play him in midfield and then they tried to start him up front. And, you know, once last season showed up and he played repeatedly with almost no rotation, he broke down and he was off for half the season. So why do we keep saying this? Oh, it has to be Gyökeres versus Sesko. Why not both? Big teams actually have 2 to 3 strikers that are reliable. I know there's still Gabriel Jesus, who is just not there. And then, of course, Kai Havertz, who can play in center forward position as well. But this is not the time for Arsenal to start to make this whole comparison of Sesko versus Gyökeres. It's just uncalled for. We need 2 reliable strikers. And that's my opinion, because if you think about it, we are not even favorites going into this current season. Liverpool have signed 2 players, and with Florian Wirtz, they are making a statement. 150. Nobody spent 150 million euros to go into a season and come second place or finish top 4. No, Liverpool want to retain the title and even probably win the Champions League as well. So I don't know why Arsenal fans have this mentality that, oh, Arsenal should go into, this is Arteta's last season, he has to win the Premier League or he's out. But they're not questioning why we are setting our bar so low in the transfer window. Manchester City are not sleeping either. They spent over £200 million between January and now, and it's even just going under the radar. Nobody's talking about it. Everybody's focusing on Arsenal, Zubimendi. How many of such players are City signed in the last couple of months? And nobody's even talking about it. But mentally, we still think we are favorites. We need to get away from that mindset of, oh, Arteta needs to do so. We need to pay attention to what's happening in other teams too. Manchester City are there. Obviously, Man U will want to rebound. I don't think they'll be contenders for the title next season anyway. Depending on what happens this transfer, you can't rule them out. Chelsea are making moves too. They signed a striker, and they're going to do more to get their club, the squad ready for the next season. Thinking about it, Arsenal are going to be having to play so many games next season. They're going to play a lot of games in Champions League. There'll be a lot of Premier League matches, and we still, now that there is so much pressure on the team, the FA Cup and the League Cup are not competitions to just field the under 21s or whatever and just play anybody that is not able to make the first team. You have to take all competitions seriously. So if Arteta will not get to the end of the season and start to make excuses why refereeing decisions were against Arsenal or so many injuries, we need to really be very, very intentional about how we cover those positions. So centre forward, in my opinion, Arsenal need 2 very good strikers. I see Gabriel Jesus like someone who is not really there, so I can't even count on him. Kai Havertz, nobody really depends on him these days. So he's the kind of player that should be playing like the League Cup and the FA Cup games if Arsenal are really to operate at the level they really want. So the fans are ambitious, but we don't need to be surprised if at the end of the day Arsenal end up signing Gyökeres and Sesko, because technically we need both players. I'm not too worried about the left wing position, because I know that if we have a very solid, somebody like Sesko can play on the left. He's very pacey, he's very good on the ball, and if you imagine the center, an attack lineup of Sesko, Gyökeres and Saka, Arsenal will really make a statement and take a lot of teams down. So Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe, it should be one of them, or why not we just go for both? Let's know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.